bingo card also. And we're going to do it a little bit different because I don't have enough stuff to go ahead and hand out enough bingo pieces. But we're going to, you just mark them off, okay? And we're going to draw pretty much we're going to try to draw every slide, maybe every other slide. Just kind of go from there. We'll draw a piece. I found the game and I couldn't resist. I have to figure it out. So it's kind of fun. All right. Sorry if it's a little toasty in here. We're doing our best. All right. I don't get the benefits of Karen introducing me. She told me I had to introduce myself. I'm just teasing. I'm just teasing. Yeah, she's just gonna wiggle it down. My name is Karen Burkich. I have been a Master Gardener since 2023. And I do these wonderful speaker bureau things because I enjoy it. And anytime that I give a talk, I'm learning as well. And then I'm reiterating what I've learned. So that's kind of how I do my gardening. I also do my gardening in my backyard. For those of you that know me, I have a canoe that is a pollinating garden in my backyard, and it is absolutely crazy right now and absolutely insane, and I have flowers that stand up to here. So we're going to see how it pans out over the next couple of weeks and just let it rock and roll.
I have a aluminum boat.
Oh, good for you.
My husband's had too many holes in it, he was going to scrap it. I'm like,
No, they're perfect. They're perfect. So as you can see, I'm a Master Gardener. I'm also part of the New Braunfels NetSot chapter, which is Native Plant Society of Texas. So we plant butterfly gardens all over that are native so that they don't require as much watering, and that's what I've tried to do in my yard. It's a little bit of a challenge. Next month, kind of give you a heads up, I'll be doing a talk with HOAs and your landscaping. So mark that on your books. So I'll be back. And then of course I'm the Wild Ones of South Texas seedling president. Wild Ones is a native plant organization that is across the country. So if you're interested in doing that, let me know. And then my email is at the bottom and it is on your sheet. So if you have any questions in the future, just let me know. I'll be happy to answer anything that I can. And if I don't, we've got a wonderful resource in this room and elsewhere that we can go ahead and help you find any questions that you need to have answered. So with that, we're going to get started. So when we did this, Karen said, how about you do good bugs, bad bugs? And I went, good bugs, bad bugs, red bugs, blue bugs. So we're going to take this on a little bit of a fun journey. I am not an entomologist. I am nowhere near whizzy. So I'm going to give you very, very basics today. And we're going to talk a little bit about how not to use this crud if you can avoid it. All right, so we'll talk a little bit more about that. The other thing that's going to be on the back, it's called a mosquito bucket. If you haven't done this, I suggest you do. You don't have this in your pamphlets, but there is a QR code that you can zap on your way out to know how to make it happen. All it requires is a 5-gallon bucket and mosquito dumps. And I will tell you, I put it on the corner of my patio, and I did it last year and refreshed it about every 6 weeks. And it worked amazing because it keeps the mosquitoes off of a certain base of radius. So if you have it by your door, not too close because it does stink, I will give you that, okay? But it did keep the mosquitoes at bay on my patio. So,
I use them in my tank, my stock tank all the time.
yeah, so this is a way to do it, to keep it off of your patio. So, all right, so first things first, I've got a questionnaire that I handed out with our packet. Please, at the beginning, fill it out, and then at the end, fill it out. I believe that I can only learn by what you tell me. because I am up here talking and I can talk for days and days and days. So fill that out for me. Make sure that your phones are on silent because it does distract me and other people that are in the class, and that just helps us out. Jot down any questions. There'll be time at the end, I promise, that we'll go through and we can answer what I can answer. If I don't, we've got a great resource of answers in here. There's a big joke out there, ask 3 gardeners and they'll tell you exactly what they think at any given time, and it may be the same and it may not. So just kind of keep that on. And then most important, take what you want, leave the rest. This is meant to be more of a fun and kind of how to learn and enjoy bugs as they're out in your garden, because they do have a lot of purpose and potential for you to do things that you need. So this will be on the back, so you can just zap the QR code and get the information on how to build your own Doug Tallamy mosquito bucket. All right, we talked a little bit about me. I got real involved in gardening when I was really young. My grandma seemed to be one of those people that could put just a stick in the ground and it would grow. And we had 4 o'clocks in her backyard. She was nominated in the 1970s for having the best garden in Mansfield, Ohio by the Garden Society there. So my growth has always been from her, way a long time ago. So I'm proud to be able to continue on and teach. So we are going to begin. My little wonderful friends will be helping us. So if you haven't seen jumping spiders, they're absolutely hilarious and they're so much fun. And they're very wise. So they're about no bigger than a fingernail, but they do a lot of fun things. So anyway, so they'll be my counterparts today. So here we start this wonderful journey of learning about good bugs and bad bugs. In Texas, they crawl in the heat and the sun. Some bugs do damage, but some get it done. They hunt and they help in your garden beds wide. These are the good guys you want on your side. Ta-da! So everybody knows, thank you very much. So everybody knows about our wonderful lady beetles. They are beautiful and they do a good job in the garden. But what you have to keep in mind is if you are seeing a lot of lady beetles in your garden, you probably have a critter that it's eating. And we'll talk about the critter in a minute. The other thing, so right on the other side, it's yellowish friend. That happens to be the Asian beetle. And that particular beetle does very well, just like the lady beetle. But if there is nothing for her to eat, she will damage your plants. So you have to pay attention to the dots on the back, okay? So what do lady beetles eat, everybody? Aphids. Awesome. So lady beetles are vacuum cleaners for aphids. They will suck them off, okay? Here is my dilemma. You go to the garden center, whichever garden center you go to. You pick up your little box of lady beetles, right? Because you want to make sure that you're not putting any of this stuff on your garden. Put the lady beetles in your garden, and they don't get the memo to stay. Okay, they're gone. They're finding elsewhere. So pay attention to what's out in your garden, because if you do have the lady beetles, typically you'll have aphids. So you'll need to start looking for aphids. Aphids are little tiny, white, wonderful pieces of growth that happen usually underneath your flower buds, and you'll see that. They are, they just lump up, and you will start seeing lady beetles in your garden that'll do that. You also, and we'll talk about them in a minute, you'll see lacewings as well, and they're another aphid eater. So the more bugs you see, pay attention to what other bugs you're seeing, because one is eating the other or they're working together, okay? And these little suckers are literally, they will weaken your plant. They will destroy your plant if you don't get it under control. The easiest way to get your aphids under control is to grab your hose and hose it real hard. Okay, don't just water whatever it is. You want to take the blast part of your hose and blast them off the best you can when you got aphids. So keep that in mind. If you're seeing ladybugs, 9 times out of 10, you've got aphids somewhere in your garden. So pay attention, okay? Red bugs, blue bugs, green bugs, yellow. All right. So our next step is our green bugs. Look at how cute they are. Yay! We all love the June bug, don't we? Especially this time of year, flying in the house and beaming at our heads, right? And so the June bugs, those June bugs are good and bad all at the same time. They are considered a pollinator, but they also do a lot of damage. So you do want to make sure that if you have them in your garden that you're taking care of them. You're either picking them off and putting them in soapy water, or you are not. Or you're going to leave them and decide what they're going to do. Sorry, I've got a note due here. So the June bug is one of our fun friends. They turn, if I'm not mistaken, they turn into uglies in the grass and then
Grubworms.
Thank you, grubworm. Couldn't get that out of my head. So pay attention how many you have in your yard, and they do attract themselves to light. So if you leave the light on in the house and you have the door open, chances are you're going to get one on your forehead. All right. The next one we're going to talk about is the praying mantis, and she is amazing in so many respects. The praying mantis actually has vision like a human. They have 3D capability as they see. So they eat what? Aphids. Okay. And if you're seeing them out there, the bigger ones tend to be the women, and the littler ones tend to be the men. And if you happen to see a little one, it just means he hasn't mated with his female partner, because she will eat him either during or after coitus. And I use that word because we have children in the room. So, but she will eat her mate, unfortunately. But they are good to see in your garden. They will not hurt your plants. And then the other one that we see below that is the lacewing. And the lacewing also eats the aphids that are out in your garden. So as you're seeing them flit and float around, not only do they have wings, which means that they're pollinators, right? They may not be as big as the bumblebees or the butterflies, but they're still a pollinator going from flower to flower, getting the aphids, but also getting any of the pollen and transferring it to the other plants. Okay? We all good so far? These are green bugs. These are just, and like I said, I am not Wizzy. There is no way. She's way more intelligent. Okay, so with your bingo cards, we're gonna choose two. All right, the first one is moth. Don't forget to mark your free space too. The moth, the little orange and brown moth. And number 2 is dragonfly.
Do you have any more of those cards?
I don't, I only have, sorry. All right. We're good. So we're good? Everybody got the moth and the dragonfly marked off? All right. Here we go. Big, bold, and buzzy with stripes, black and gold. He wiggles through flowers, both timid and bold. He may look quite clumsy, a bit like a tease, but nobody pollinates better with ease. Who's this? Bumblebees. So these pollinators are pretty active and pretty crazy right now, especially now that the sun has come out, right? So these are 5 that I think are pretty important. I went to a class at the Wildflower Center in Austin at Lady Bird Johnson's, and I was quite interested to find out that not all of them home the same. So we have our American bumblebee, which is this one right here in the top left corner. So the top left corner, and they're big and full and plushy, and they are pretty American. They're pretty awesome to watch. But they do something that a lot of bees do, and a lot of other insects do, which is buzz pollinate. So not only is their sound of buzzing the sound of their wings, but they also do that to release the pollen from the flowers as they get closer. So it actually releases that. The American bumblebee also is one of the bees that puts it into a hive. So they have the queen bee and the worker bees and everything that we traditionally know about bees when they're building honey. But the American bumblebee builds a hive. Now some of these other bees that we're going to talk about here in a minute do not necessarily hive. They actually create a landing space, lay their egg, and then they cover it up, and it's single. It's by itself. Okay? So they don't all hive. So just because you see a hive, that's great, but just remember that bees don't necessarily always do that. So as you go through your garden and you're digging, you may find a creature or two that you don't know that they're there. Okay? Number 2, the one right next to it, is our mason. And he is one of the ones that will dig a hole in wood. So you have to pay attention to the side of your house if you have wood on the side of your house, because they will dig a little hole and they will put their little egg in, they will cover the hole back up, and they will allow it to eat the wood as it comes out and reproduces and becomes an adult. Next to it, sorry guys, I have to cheat a little bit. Carpenter, this is another wood bearer that's over here on your right hand side, and he will do the same thing. He'll go in the wood and produce a little hole, put himself in there and do. And that's why this is the door prize today, guys. Insect hole. Stay tuned. All right. The one that's down in the left-hand corner on the bottom, that's a leaf cutter bee, right? We have leaf cutter ants and we have leaf cutter bees. Leaf cutter ants do the same similar thing, where they will go ahead and they will eat your leaf. But they are eating their leaf so that they can take it back, bury a hole, lay their egg, cover their hole with the leaf so that when the larvae comes out, it has something to eat, and then it will go on its merry way. So they are single producers. They don't have a big old hive to go to. They don't have a bunch of friends. Yes?
So since they're leaf cutting bees, are there particular plants they like better? Or are there other
Probably.
plants that are?
Yeah, probably. I would assume so, however, because bees aren't normally, they have their favorites, but I'm assuming that if it's sweet enough and they're in the reproduction mode, that they probably, I don't know if there's one, and if you find one, let me know and we'll share it with you.
Thank you.
Yes. Yes.
The little bitty bees are those going to see on like a boxes? Leaf cutter or?
I would assume so because they are tiny. These aren't very big at all. And they look like a traditional bee, but they're tinier.
Yeah.
Where like the mason is brown and green and a little bit more waspy looking, if you look at it real quick.
Okay.
So. doing my best on that one. Okay, so last one, which is something that we will probably see in the garden a lot, is because we work really, really hard and we sweat. This is the green one, is the sweat bee. And he craves your salt and your nutrients from your sweat. So if you are out in the garden and there's one that's hanging around to you, it's probably because you're working really, really hard. So good view. But just know that that's what they do. I will tell you, on the note of bees and wasps and anything that you're going to see in the garden that you might be afraid of, don't be too afraid of them. If you have enough flowers and pollinators around, they are going to want that and not you. Okay? They don't sting to eat. They sting because they're threatened. So just keep that in mind. You can get pretty close. And if any of you enjoyed the iNaturalist challenge and still have iNaturalist on your phone, that works for insects as well. So if they stay and pause and smile for the camera, then just go ahead and allow them to do that, and you can find out exactly what you have in your garden with iNaturalist. It's been my friend for a while.
That's an app?
It's an app. It's called iNaturalist, and it's the free one, unless you want to pay for the other one. But to get used to it, iNaturalist, and it's for plants and creatures. So it'll be for insects, bugs, birds, all of that. Okay. Ready? We're going to draw another one. This is going way fast. All right. Wasp. All right, so here's the next one. Look at my little spider, isn't he fun? They do that. All right, a leaf with hole, or what could it be? A pest, a problem, or soon wings you'll see. Some bugs eat a little before they take flight and turn into pollinators. What a delight. What's this? Butterflies and caterpillars. So I'm gonna kind of, as much as I love my monarchs and they're my favorite, the one below the monarch caterpillar is our swallowtail. Sorry, is the swallowtail. But I'm gonna kind of diss them right now, just because there are so many other beautiful butterflies that are out there. And if you take a minute to realize all the differences and how perfect they are every time you see them in your garden, whether they're a caterpillar or they are turning into the butterfly, they're amazing. So as you look through your garden and you start seeing things, you may think it's aphids, and it's not. Okay, so pay attention, because they lay their eggs underneath the milkweed. Okay, that's their drug of choice typically, but they look like little tiny aphids, but they're single. The difference between the eggs is that they are single. Aphids are very clumpy. Okay, so pay attention, and as you watch, that little egg will grow, and then all of a sudden you will not have your milkweed. Your milkweed will be gone. So, but don't get rid of the caterpillar, because they're doing what they're supposed to be doing. I had a recent client. I had a native plant person. They gave them this beautiful milkweed to put in their backyard for the butterflies, because the native plant person was doing what she was supposed to be doing, which was spreading the knowledge and telling him all about it and everything else. And then he goes out and he sees Mary, the monarch butterfly, in training. Mary was eating the milkweed. And so Todd, in his infinite wisdom, goes, bugs, bad. squished Mary, and Mary didn't live. But he came back to me, because he knows I'm a native plant geek, and says, I killed the bug, he didn't end up eating all my plants. And I'm like, what did you kill? And he goes, it was a caterpillar, and it looked like this. Todd. The whole reason that you had the milkweed was to produce the butterfly. And he felt so bad. He was like, I'm not even gonna tell her. I'm not even gonna tell her, because she'll be crying. So pay attention to what you have in your garden, because it might be doing what it's supposed to be doing. Okay? If you plant milkweed, know that you may have sticks instead of a beautiful plant at one point in its life. So just kind of keep that in mind. So as we have the monarch butterflies, you can see the egg, right? And then it develops. So you come back a couple of days later, and all of a sudden you're going to see these little creatures running around. And they're going to be eating your plant and your leaves, right? And then hopefully at one point you may see one of the green little pumas hanging out. And then you get these big, beautiful butterflies that flit through the garden. Now there are many that look like monarchs, but they're not all monarchs, so pay attention. And then you've got the Gulf literary, which are the other orange butterflies that you'll be seeing in your garden. And that's what their cocoon looks like. And then you can't really see it real well on here, but this one will turn into the swallowtail. And it's a swallowtail, it's almost a black iridescent, and you will see the iridescent blue spots that it has. So when you're out in the garden, take a minute, go close, and look and see if you've got any of these little guys. And then as they come into season, start paying attention to which ones you got out there. Grab your eye naturalist and go. Yes, ma'am?
What is the name of the one in the middle?
The one in the middle is a flitterary. A flitterary? Flitterary. A Gulf flitterary. It's a F-R-I-T-I-L-L-A-R-Y.
They like fennel too.
They like fennel. They do. They're amazing. It's amazing. All right. So here's the next one. Butterflies flutter with colorful grace, dancing from flower to flower and place to place. They sip a sweet drink with long curly straw and spread pollen around without even a flaw. So yes, this can be our butterflies and other insects that are in the garden, but there's a couple of other pollinators that we need to pay attention to. So here are all the beautiful butterflies that are these are Texas butterflies. It's fun to do the history on that and see all the color that's out there. It's crazy. But these are the two that we need to pay attention to. We will never have that jade vine in Texas. It's actually, this was in Costa Rica, and then they're known for being in Polynesia. But the hummingbird, of course, we have about 18 different types of hummingbirds throughout Texas. And it is amazing to watch them. We have the rufous, I think it's a rufous, that stays through winter. So don't put your hummingbird feeders away necessarily in the wintertime because they are hanging out, okay? But we have a lot that migrate, and they migrate very, very close to the monarch cycle. They follow about 75 degrees, if that helps. So as the monarchs leave Mexico, the hummingbirds are doing the same. They're not necessarily leaving from Mexico, they're leaving from Central America a little further south. And they will go and they follow the weather all the way up north. And then as the weather starts getting colder, that's when they come back, coming back south and going back down to central Mexico. Now, with that being said, we are blessed in Texas because we get 2 times a year that we get to see both the monarchs and the hummingbirds coming through. And if you get a chance to be buzzed by one of the hummingbirds, it's pretty amazing. And legend has it that if you see a hummingbird, its wishes and wants to come to fruition. And if you see a monarch, it's a visitor from your dead relatives that is coming to visit. So they kind of take on that same cardinal thought process with the monarch butterflies. Now the bats, this particular vine is amazing, and yes, that blue, the picture doesn't even do it justice. It's an amazing feature, but it glows in the dark, and that's why the bats are the only ones that pollinate that particular plant. They actually have a hook that goes like this, and the bat comes over and sucks out of the straw, which is this, and the pollinator comes out of here because he pushes with his nose, and he gets it all over his face. And that's how he pollinates. But he is the only one that pollinates the jade vine. And those jade vines are, like I said, the color is jadier or more blue-green, and it doesn't have any green in its actual flora. It's not a green tint that's in there, so it's kind of interesting.
Any other plant besides, pollinate any other plant besides that?
Bats will pollinate, they'll get their noses and whatnot into it, but it has to have a really sweet. And that's why we have a lot here in South Texas. They go out at night and they try to find not only the mosquitoes and the ugly bugs, but they go ahead and they actually pollinate for flowers. The yuccas?
Yeah, these bats will pollinate some of the white yuccas.
Probably because it glows, the white yuccas. Because it probably glows in the evening.
And they get the bugs that are in there too.
Yeah. So they're pretty amazing. I've never thought of bats as pollinators, but here we are. All right, let's draw. I got prizes to give away, that's why I'm doing this. Okay. All right. Anthill. Mosquito. They chew in the morning, they munch late at night, they don't ask permission, they just take a bite. In Texas heat, they multiply fast. Ignore them too long, your garden won't last. Whoa, yuck, ew. All right, so the first two pictures are close-ups of aphids. So we've talked a lot about them. Obviously, they're challenging in the garden on a regular basis, but this is the damage they can do if you don't catch them in time. Okay, so these are the things that can catch, you get them out there and you see them and you say, oh, I'll get to it tomorrow. You don't have that kind of time.
Oh.
Okay, grab the hose, at least spray them off until you don't get to them again. Sorry, boss, I'm late. I gotta take care of this. And then what is this wonderful monster?
Tomatoes.
They're nasty. They're big and they're not pretty and they're just ugly, and you get them, and the best way to get rid of them is to pull them off and
Squish them.
And squish them or put them in. You can always have soap. I know.
I give to the chickens.
And then, yeah, and a lot of people do that. If you have chickens, they're great.
Yeah.
Birds doing their bird thing.
But they make such a pretty moth.
Well, yeah, if you're willing to sacrifice, and that's where you've got to go. Every creature on this planet has a purpose, right? So if you're willing to sacrifice your tomatoes for the pretty moth, you do you. Okay?
And put a sacrificial light.
Let me know if they get the memo.
Well, I had one on my tomato plant last year, and I'm like, oh my gosh, what should I do? I came out the next day, the bird got it. So,
Karma.
yeah.
I don't want to come back as a horn or any worm for that matter. So the hornworm, so the best way to get rid of them without putting any 7 on it or any other type of chemical is to pull them off and put them in soapy water. Destroy them that way. If you want to sacrifice them and wait for karma to take its toll, awesome, that's good too. And hence my words for having a bird feeder near your garden. Because the bird feeders, once the bird feeder is empty and they're in your garden, they will typically go after what they want as far as protein is concerned. So it's always good. Yes, ma'am?
If you plant the moonflower, the datura plants, they eat those too. And I just plant a lot of daturas because I love the flowers anyhow. So I take the caterpillar off the tomato plant and put it over on the other one, and they can eat it because they're both in the same family.
Oh, that's good to know.
Yeah, because that is the hummingbird moth. And so
they're the big ones.
killing that one's no different than killing the monarchs and the.
I know.
Yeah.
It's one of the, like I said, if you're willing to sacrifice and you've come up with a great solution.
Plus you get the pretty flowers from the moonflower.
And the moonflowers are really unique because they only bloom at night.
So they attract the moths that lay the eggs that.
Yeah, so it's a great cycle, but the moonflowers are big and they're beautiful white flowers, but they only bloom in the evening. In the morning when the sun comes up, they go back to being nothing.
Yeah.
And so, and they take over.
They do, because each plant has like 100 seeds. But if you take a bowl and you go out and after the moonflower turns into that spiny ball, hold the bowl in there and cut the ball off and all your seeds are in a bowl and they don't take over. So you have that. And we do probably have seeds upstairs if anybody wants any seeds.
And I know I gotta get in place if you really want them to, so let me know. But they take over. So if you want to put them in your back, it's called moonflower. If you put them in your backyard,
It's not the moonflower vine, it's the datura bush.
it's the datura bush.
Yeah.
Okay, then I was thinking the vine.
There's vines and then there's bushes. The vine's different.
Yeah.
These have to go on the bush.
Okay.
Because it's in the nightshade family. So is tomato. So they have to go on the same plant to be able to survive.
That's brilliant.
Yeah.
That's brilliant. That might have to be in my pollinator garden now.
What about those bugs?
Not that.
Those little caterpillars, is that neem oil you can?
You're gonna need to do neem oil or orange oil. But I'd be careful because if you're too close to harvest, you don't want to use anything because you're gonna be putting that in your system. Gotta watch how soon you do stuff. Tomato plants, same thing. If you're gonna use 7, which isn't the same 7 that we had when most of us were growing up, it's a new version. But when you put that on, you want to make sure that you're far enough away from harvesting that it's not going to be on your plant or on your fruit. Okay, so far so good? All right. Look at how cute he is. Is he not the cutest? The ants march along in a busy parade, building their tunnels and homes they have made. Some help the soil, some farm little bugs, so watch what they're doing before giving shrugs.
Because they'll eat your shrub.
So the ants have a lot of potential. If the potential is there and you're not noticing any damage to your plants, leave the ants alone. They're doing their job. If they are eating your plants, then you need to take action and measure. There is nothing that's going to eat your ants unless it's a bird. All right, so unless you can get the bird to read the memo, we'll go back to reading the memo, right? You can use, and we'll go into fire ants here in a minute. You can use your DE, your diatomaceous earth, okay, which is just crushed up bones, dinosaur bones. You can use some of the basics. I mean, there's a lot out there that you can use that's organic. I don't find that it works as quickly as I would like it to, so that's when I go for the hard and heavy.
What about cream of wheat or
Corn mix.
or cornmeal?
It works similar to the diatomaceous earth. It's going to be safe, but it's not going to be fast and furious. So if you're having a barbecue party in the afternoon and you want them gone, that's probably not going to happen. Okay, so the cornmeal and those natural remedies, you can do it, but you have to continually apply it. It's not something that you can do, it's a one and done.
What are the ants doing?
Working.
The soil?
They go in and they dig their homes, and they work, and they eat, and they help for the queen,
And
and that's what they do.
but the plant, what for the plants?
They eat the roots.
Yeah.
Clearing air in there.
They're just eating the roots and
Eating the
producing. When they're under soil, keep in mind that they're producing more and more. Okay, don't make,
Yeah.
they're producing more, but they're also producing food, which is also fertilizing. So you've got a whole
And they're
cycle
like-
that is good,
Uh-huh.
but we don't like them. And then when they start destroying stuff that we've taken the time and planted, that's where it
So
becomes.
massive bowls that are right close to plants are not good. Thousands that are in there.
So those are the things. Now, we talk about fire ants. Just so you know, fire ants are not native to Texas. Somebody brought those little boogers in just to tick me off. So, this is me, take what you want, leave the rest, all right? If it's up close to my house or where I'm going to be, I don't want to have anything to do with them. So I take the ugly method of kill, all right? Get out of my face because I'm going to reach my hand in there and I don't want my hand in there, okay? So I do the kill. I'm going to give you, and I get nothing from the companies. I'm not promoting one over the other. You use what works best for you in your yard. I will tell you what works best for me, and I've had really good luck with it. So my favorite is triazicide. I use granules and I use this. This is, you hook it to the hose, easy for the lazy girl, okay? Put it to the hose and I spray it up against the house. Okay, keep the dog inside for 6 or 8 hours, and then he can go out and play. But this is what I use. The granules, I take a cup and literally just sprinkle it on top of the mound, stir the mound up just a bit so that the guys come out and play. And then within about 3 hours, there's no activity. Okay, that's me.
What brand is that?
Triazicide.
And that's the name of the company that produces it too?
Yeah. No, it's Spectracide. Spectracide.
Okay, gotcha.
And triazicide. This is, I keep a big bag of triazicide in my garage, and that way when I'm out in the yard and I notice that there's one, I can go immediately grab a cup. I have a solo cup that's in there, grab it and just sprinkle it on top. So, like I said, you do you, but this is one that's worked for me and I've had really, really good luck. Fun stuff. If you do DEET, this is one that I recommend for mosquito bites and whatnot when I'm out in the garden. Okay, I happen to love this stuff and it's sport friendly, so it'll allow you to sweat. This is what I use in my house. It's Taro. It comes in not only the spray, but it comes in the little tiny traps. So depending on what you're doing. So clean the area real good, maybe a bleach wipe, put it over wherever you're at, and then put your bombs down, whatever that looks like for you, okay? I'm showing you things that I had in my house that I put in a bag and I brought today. Cutter's good too, but I'm not, girl. All right, so that's about ants. I am not a fire ant friend. That is not my thing. I don't like them, and if I can get rid of as many as possible. You will notice as you walk through your yard, your lawn, or you walk near the veg of your flower bed, or you even get into your flower bed and you start noticing those mounds, you can feel them as you walk through your yard. You can feel where the ground is a little bit softer. They may not jump on you right then and there, but you want to make sure that you know what's under your feet. Wear your boots, wear something in the garden. Don't go out there unless you absolutely know that everything is dead. Don't go out there and do yoga. Because it could end up being a not so zen experience. All right, so here's the benefits of both, right? So know what you plant, and then you will have the benefit of the monarchs if they don't get eaten prior to by little birds that hang out. All right, so now we're going to kind of go a little bit different way, and we've got about 10 minutes, so I'm going to kind of make it fast. This is my PSA, my public service announcement. Where do all the pollinators go with all the development that's in the area? Your pollinators are going to be leaving, which means your birds are going to be leaving, which means everything's going to be leaving, and you're going to have this wonderful 17th century grass that allows you to go ahead and think that you are some sort of a rich person because you have land that does absolutely nothing for the environment. So with that, we want to make sure that in our garden we produce something for the pollinators. So we're going to talk 1 minute about pollination. So we're going to talk a little bit about what the plant does. The plant has a male part and a female part. Yes, they are both. So just keep in mind that when your birds and your bees and everybody is pollinating, that they're going to go up to the top, which is the male part, and shake it, and then it's going to go into the female part and pollinate your flower so that you can reproduce seed and for the other production that the plant is going to do, whether it's more flowers or prettier flowers or bigger flowers, or allow it to have all the energy to go. So we've got the stamens and we've got the pistils. And as you go in and you research a little bit more about what all occurs in that, it's pretty amazing because for whatever reason our plants can tell the difference between male and female. Done with my PSA on that. Keep in mind also that our pollinators, for 1 out of every 3 bites of food, it's because a pollinator reached that product. So if we don't have pollinators, guys, there is no chocolate. There is no coffee.
There's no tomatoes.
There is no tomatoes, okay? So with that being said, it's important to put something into your garden, into your flower bed that is a pollinator producer. Bring the pollinators back. It's not just the bees, it's anything with wings that can go ahead and do that for us. So again, 85% of the flowering plants that are on the earth need help with pollination. They provide so much for our crops. And, you know, I mean, we talk about food crops, but just the flower crops and allowing these critters to continue and evolve. So that's a little bit of information. Y'all can read about that later. How can insecticides be good? I think we need to talk a little bit about what they're wearing. How can that be good for your grass, for your flowers, around your house, around your loved ones, around your dogs? Okay? How can that be good? If they're doing this out in the field, How can that be good to put into our bodies? Right? So when you're buying your insecticides, before you go to the insecticide, see if there is something that you can do that wouldn't bring that immediately into your own crops and into your own house. Look at him, isn't he fun? Okay. So letting nature and plants protect your environment is what we want to try to bring back, okay? So the lady beetle, obviously, is our aphid eating machine. We've got the green lacewing. They also do that. They eat the aphids. The hoverfly, they eat aphids. So aphids seem to be the thing that we need to apparently. But we've got wasps that will go ahead and they will take care of the hornworms and the caterpillars. And then if you want to go ahead and you want to plant something else out there to have an alternative for it and say, here, go here. We're good with you going here. Praying mantis, and she's a little monster. And then of course your birds and the garden spiders. They're not just for teaching you karate. Okay? So let nature do what nature does. We've got a lot out there that is taking care of nature, and if you have and invite those things into your garden, you don't need to look at this ugly stuff on a regular basis and put it into your system. So try to think of the alternative for your gardens, especially when you're making your own food, when you're doing your own lettuce, when you're doing your own tomatoes, when you're doing your own onions. Try not to put anything in the garden that you don't want to put in your body. Okay? Or sprinkle your oatmeal with. This is another one that's really fun. These are pitcher plants. They're actually a native plant to Texas. You can plant them outside. However, because they are more tropical, they do better as an indoor plant. But this is the coolest thing. So the little fly or the little creature will fly inside the pitcher, and inside the pitcher it actually has the acid, like your stomach acid, and it actually dissolves the plant. So it is really good for an indoor plant if you can get them to grow, because they will take care of your fruit flies and your gnats and your mosquitoes that are in the house. So they're kind of fun. Don't ever break one open, they stink.
What are they called?
They're called pitcher plants. Pitcher.
Karen,
Is this yours?
No.
Karen,
Yes, ma'am.
sir,
Did you ever?
No, you
Oh,
have
okay.
a picture plan.
Yeah, pitcher plant. They're very cool. Usually you can find them in the indoor plants garden area at Lowe's.
Green Gate has
Green
them.
Gate has them.
Where?
Green Gate.
Green Gate has them?
Yes.
They're just beautiful. They're really, really cool. And they have them, there's a lot that are in, obviously, the tropical rainforests and stuff, and they come pretty big. And you open them and they just stink. They reek. But they're really good for indoor plantings. So, and then of course, books, Google. Exercise your right to find out about what you can do as far as attracting the beneficial bugs. Now, keeping in mind that the beneficial bugs may be harmful to the other bugs. So you've got to pay that attention. It's a great book. I get nothing from Miss Jessica, but it's a good book to have in your arsenal of stuff. Flowers that you can plant in the garden. The other one I didn't put up there is citronella. As you guys saw, you got your goodies for your wrists, and some of you got candles. Those are mini citronella candles. Try them out, see how they work. And then you can always plant citronella, but citronella does very well until about 40 degrees, 45. So at that time, you'll need to pull it into the garage and do the Texas two-step in the winter. Okay? But if you plant the citronella, put it in a pot, put it on your patio, make sure that it doesn't get the 6 or 8 hours of Texas heat. It likes kind of the shaded heat, but just keep in mind that it does need to come inside when it reaches about 50 or 45 in that zone. I am going to say something. How many of you, so going down to leaving a little mess. So how many of you leave your leaves out in the winter? Okay.
What?
Leaves, leaving your leaves underneath your bushes. I have noticed lately, because I work on the river as well, that I haven't noticed as many fireflies.
Yes.
And a lot of that is because people are taking their leaves and putting them in the trash or sending them off with recyclable. So if you can leave your leaves, that's actually where the fireflies will go ahead and leave their little eggs.
But you know, they take a lot of moisture, so that's another reason why we haven't been seeing a lot of them, especially like last summer, because it's so dry.
We don't even have them out at the river.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I lived at Canyon Lake, I live at Canyon Lake, and so there's no rain, there's no water, there's no clouds. It's flying fireflies, you know, so that's the problem we're having too.
Yes,
I
ma'am.
I have a quarter of an acre in Wildscape, and I have fireflies.
You have them? Then you're doing it right. Well, we've had a lot right. But we have,
To them over the last 20 years.
we have, yeah, so if you can leave your mess, leave your mess. And then, of course, if you can talk to your neighbors, I know a lot of us live in subdivisions. If you can have them limit their insecticide sprayings, that would be a help. Everybody does themselves, so you've got to do what you've got to do. I've got one on each side that has a regular sprayer monthly on both sides, so I'm doing my best, and it seems like they're all coming to me, which is fine. But just kind of keep that in mind. If you can limit your pesticides and go from there.
Karen,
Yes.
it's been 15 or 20 years since I took vegetable specialist, and back then they recommended Safer's insecticidal soap. Has opinion changed on that recently?
I don't think so, as far as insecticidal. You kind of have to do it, the products have changed. Let's go there, okay? So depending on how long ago that class was, or the old school, like way old school, because people will tell me all the time they found 7 in their arsenal of stuff, and they bought that 15 years ago, and it's a different chemical makeup. So I would think that the formula may have changed. Maybe it's better now, but it's not as effective. Does that make sense? The formula is probably safer now, but is it as effective as it was? Because that's what's happened with 7. Another company bought it and the formula changed.
Dish soap in the spray, and it gets rid of a bunch of stuff.
A&M was never recommended that you use soap.
Yeah.
It's just gone, so I use it all the time.
Yeah, and that's something we'd have to ask Travis is where the recommendation came
It's
through
not
on
an
this.
insecticide, it's gone, and you, that's what I can spray on the
Again, my little spider's so cute. Any questions that maybe I can answer or we can get an answer for? Yes, sir.
SVB's squash vine board. Squash vine boards. What,
I need help on that one. I do not know. Swash?
we have tried virtually all, well, without going deep into the poison, but manually going under each leaf every other day to injecting them with injecting the vine with malathion. I mean, everything to try to get rid of squash vine boards. And so trying to find something that might be natural.
That might be something in your soil. it might be actually a microbe that's in your soil that's creating that, so you may need to turn the soil up or fix the soil.
Kill the vine board? I mean, well,
All right, I'm gonna do a couple more picks, see if we can get a winner on bingo.
He has a solution, let's hear what.
Well,
Oh, yeah,
it's not, so, I tried all kinds, all those, you know, wrap with foil, inject with BT, you name it, I tried it. Kaolin clay, a white powdery clay that the clown makeup use, but in powder form. There's an actual product called, I forget the name of it, but it's the white powder. It's real fine, you mix, so I have a half gallon sprayer. I put 1.5 cups of this powder, and you fill it with water and shake it. You gotta shake it constantly because you gotta get it in. But you spray the plants, and it turns them white, but the insects don't bother them.
What do you
Oh.
find?
Well,
sounds like it's a cake makeup, like a makeup.
oh, it's called Surround, WP Surround, but I have not found it locally. The cheapest I found it was online, and I can't remember the name of the place, but it was like $56 for a 25-pound bag, $30 shipping. But because I spent a ton of money trying to find a solution, I'm like, I'm not gonna do that. I'm spending a lot, so I went to Amazon and started searching reviews for kaolin clay and garden, or spray and garden.
Can you spell that?
Yeah.
Kaolin. And I found some two-pound bags for like $12. So I bought one to try it. The problem I had, it worked perfect. The plants were the beautifulest plants I've ever seen, except they're white. But it was perfect until it rained. And that just happened to be where it like rained every other day. So I go out there to spray and wash off, spray, wash off.
Okay.
But while it was not raining, those plants were happy, healthy, beautiful. None of the insects were eating them.
Oh, that's awesome.
And the clay supposedly lowers the temperature by around 10 to 15 degrees. The plants are happy. It doesn't block photosynthesis. It's awesome.
Beautiful. Thank you for that, David. Appreciate it.
Kaolin?
Yeah, it's the stuff they'll use in toothpaste and kaopectate,
Okay.
all kinds of things. You can eat it, it's safe.
That's not
It's just, no, I don't recommend that, but
I recommend that.
it's clay. But
right.
you're gonna have it in a covered area, or you're gonna be spraying frequently if it gets washed off.
Okay. Let's see if we can do a quick wrap of the bingo. Bumblebee. Cocoon. Ladybug. Okay, y'all. Bingo good! There you go. Thank you. Yay! Ice for her cocktails. All right. Well, thank you very much, y'all. I appreciate you. Hopefully you got a lot of information. Yeah, we'll get there in a second. We'll get there in just a second.
Door prize.
And door prize. Who's gonna get the Insect Hotel? Insect Hotel. All right. Ready? 772 234. Right there. Woo-hoo! Congratulations. Much more. Awesome. All right. And last but not least, if anybody needs to go ahead. They can keep them.
I was gonna see it, let me for you.
Oh, well, if you want to, no,